Pavs, good morning to you. And when we look at a day like today, it was first bantered about, wasn't it, back in 1992, somewhere there or thereabouts, until the United Nations decided, okay, we need an Oceans Day. As South Africa, do you think enough people know about today? And do you think it gets the attention that it needs?
Well, good morning, Gareth, and thank you for having me. You know, it's slowly growing in awareness in South Africa. It definitely needs a lot more of our attention, considering the fact that we have about a 3,500-kilometer coast. We're a seafood-loving country. We use the oceans for recreation. Some cultures use it for spirituality. We have a very thriving fishing industry, and it supports a lot of South Africans in terms of food, but also in terms of livelihoods. So it's most important that South Africans understand the relevance of World Oceans Day and its implications to their lives.
This is a particularly important conversation, and I'm so glad we're having it at this time, because I'm fairly certain, Pavs, that you will be well aware of some of the planned protest action about this ship, this car power ship that's going to be arriving in South Africa. There's concerns about underwater noise levels. There's concerns around pollution. There's criticism that government is not taking the ocean environment into consideration enough. I'd love your thoughts as WWF on that ship and the plan to keep it there, knowing, of course, none of us have power at the moment. With all these power cuts, it solves that, but causes issues for the environment, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, the oceans are an amazing Earth system, and that's something people don't understand. We usually just relate the oceans to consumption, delicious seafood, etc. But the oceans actually do quite amazing things, Gareth. So for a lot of people, they don't realize the ocean is one of the biggest carbon sinks. So it uses up most of our CO2 that we as human beings generate. It is one of the biggest drivers of oxygen. So most of our oxygen actually comes from the sea, because chlorophyll in phytoplankton actually does what plants on land do. And being such a huge body of water, it actually gives us a lot of oxygen. And, that's besides the point when we think about the billions of livelihoods the ocean support, when we think about the millions of people that rely on it for food. So when you disrupt the ocean, whether it's climate change, whether it's irresponsible practices, whether it's a ship that has big environmental impacts, you disrupt those systems. And that becomes a problem for what relies on those systems. So, I think we understand the issues around power and the need for it as a developing country and the needs of our people. But we can't have that benefit at the cost of an environment that is just as important for our survival. The oceans is an Earth system that actually drives our weather. A lot of people don't know that. Without the oceans, you don't get heat distribution. Without the oceans, you don't get cloud formation. Now, if you don't get cloud formation, you don't get rain. Yeah. So, it's very important that when government makes decisions like the power ship, that those basic oceanic and those basic environmental considerations have to be taken into almost upfront on the list of priorities when that's considered. Because once you start doing irreparable damage to the ocean, it takes a long time for it to bounce back. And, we don't have the privilege of time at the moment, because we are operating outside of our planetary boundaries already as a species.
Yeah, we are. The planet is dying as a result of humans. Pavitray, just the last 30 seconds from you. What is the WWF doing this month? What can people get involved with just before I say goodbye to you?
Absolutely. So the WWF SA program is doing a lot. We're running competitions, trying to get people to read labels. So when you purchase your fish, look at the label, ask the right questions. Is it local? Is it responsibly sourced? Does it come from a fishery that's employing responsible practices? Understand where your seafood comes from before you consume it, and make smart decisions. If you're a recreational fisher, I usually say to them, limit your catch. Don't catch your limit. Watch your plastic consumption. We all know that 80% of plastic that ends up in our oceans are land-based. So, remove problematic plastics. Think about your actions and be responsible about your habits. And if you can do that and you can follow the SASSy traffic light system, just that little impact, and you accumulate it to 57 million people all doing one little thing, we'll have a massive difference to our oceans.
We will indeed. Yeah, plastic isn't made in the sea, is it? Pavitray, thank you very much indeed. Pavitray Pillay from WWF South Africa joining us here on ENCA.